The story begins with an old, grainy video showing a strange ritual. A young girl stands in the center of a ring drawn on the ground, and a large, bloated man enters the circle with her. The girl is hanged by her neck as part of the ritual. After that, another girl is brought back to life. The camera zooms in on this revived girl's face, revealing a dark red birthmark under one eye. Somewhere in the city, a blind teenage girl named Piper tries to be friendly with a group of girls at a bus stop. She wants to make friends, but they mock her once she turns away. Her stepbrother Andy shows up and guides her away from the situation, unaware that the girls are making fun of her behind her back. Piper and Andy live together in a small home with Andy's father, Phil. But everything changes when Phil is found dead in the shower from a drug overdose. After Phil's death, Piper and Andy meet a social worker named Wendy. Wendy explains that Piper will be placed in foster care with a woman named Laura. Andy is supposed to go to a different home, but he protests. He insists that he and Piper should stay together because they've always been like real siblings. Wendy reminds Andy of his past troubles, things he never told Piper, and says that this could be a problem for Laura. Still, Andy begs and convinces Wendy to ask Laura to take them both in. Finally, Laura agrees, and the two are brought to her home. At Laura's house, they meet a quiet boy named Oliver, who doesn't speak. Laura says he's her nephew. Andy lets Laura's cat outside by accident, and the cat later scratches Oliver. Andy notices something strange, a dark red mark under Oliver's eye, just like the girl in the ritual video. Piper is given a room that once belonged to Laura's daughter, Kathy, who passed away. Later, Laura watches the old cult video again. The footage explains that in order to bring someone back from the dead, an angel must take over a person's body, consume the old one, and transfer the soul from the dead person into the new one. From the start, it's clear that Laura shows a lot more love to Piper than to Andy. She often treats Andy coldly and even calls him the wrong name on purpose. One day, she finds Andy's phone and sees a message he sent to a friend, calling Oliver a freak. This makes her even more hostile towards him. Laura takes the two to Phil's funeral. Piper, who can't see, asks Andy how their father looks. Andy doesn't want to upset her, so he lies and says he looks peaceful. Laura overhears this and reveals that Andy didn't even look at the body, which shocks Piper, especially since their special word for complete honesty is grapefruit. Feeling guilty, Andy returns to look at his father's body. Laura tells him it's customary to kiss the dead goodbye, starting with the forehead. When Andy does, Laura pushes him to kiss Phil on the lips, something she does herself. Later that night, the three of them drink and dance together. Piper goes to sleep early, leaving Andy and Laura alone. They talk about personal things. Laura shares that Kathy drowned in the pool and that losing her broke her heart. Andy opens up about how Phil used to hurt him and how he tried to protect Piper from that truth. He says that when Phil married Piper's mother, it was the first time he felt part of a real family. After their talk, Andy heads to bed. Laura quietly urinates into a cup and pours it on Andy's pants to make it look like he wet the bed. Then she sneaks into his phone and deletes any pictures he had taken of Oliver or the house. Meanwhile, she gives Oliver a bath, and his eyes glow red, showing something unnatural is happening inside him. The next day, Laura leaves Piper and Oliver at home with Andy. Andy tries to communicate with Oliver by giving him a piece of paper to write on. They sit down to eat, and Andy gives Oliver pieces of fruit. But suddenly, Oliver grabs the knife, bites into it, and injures his mouth. Andy panics and tries to take him to the hospital. But as they cross the boundary of the house, marked by a wide white ring, Oliver starts to burn and scream in pain, like the air outside is poisonous to him. Laura returns in time to pull Oliver back and calm him down using the old cult tape. Later, Andy finally takes a shower after avoiding it since his dad's death. In the steam, he sees a ghostly figure that looks like Phil. The ghost whispers something chilling, "She'll die in the rain." Andy assumes this means Piper is in danger. He panics, slips in the shower, and ends up in the hospital. As he recovers, he tells Laura about his worry. Meanwhile, it begins to rain outside. Laura takes Piper out and plays in the rain with her, trying to keep things normal. Piper, unaware of anything bad, says that she and Andy might find their own place one day but still come visit Laura. Laura then leads Piper to the shed and guides her hand toward a frozen body, Kathy's. Piper is horrified. Later, Laura decides to turn Piper against Andy. She sprays herself with Andy's body spray, walks into Piper's room, and punches her hard in the face, giving her a black eye. She lies and tells Piper that Andy did it out of jealousy and anger. She also tells Piper that Andy hid the truth about Phil's abuse because he wanted to make Phil look better. Meanwhile, Andy tries to gather proof that something is wrong. He catches Oliver outside in the rain and attempts to record him. In the chaos, Laura intervenes and makes it look like Andy hit her, which she uses to further turn Piper against him. Laura takes Piper to a local rec center to play goalball. While they're gone, Andy visits the police station to file a report. There, he sees a poster of a missing boy named Connor Bird. The picture matches Oliver exactly. Andy realizes that Laura kidnapped this boy and has been pretending he's her nephew. He runs to Wendy and shows her the flyer, begging for her help. Back at the house, things go wild. Oliver starts destroying everything in the home. He eats anything he can get his hands on, and when Laura tries to stop him, he bites a huge chunk out of her arm. Then he begins chewing through a wooden table, ignoring the damage to his mouth, and even bites off his own flesh to eat it. Laura finally subdues him and makes him begin the ritual, eating the old body. He starts eating Kathy's frozen corpse, continuing the ritual shown in the video. Laura hears a message Andy left for Piper, telling her he loves her like a real brother and warning her about Laura. Realizing Wendy and Andy are coming, Laura hurries to clean up the house. Wendy arrives first and doesn't see anything suspicious at first. But when Andy sneaks into the shed and finds Oliver with Kathy's body, everything becomes clear. Wendy notices Laura's bleeding arm and realizes something is horribly wrong. When she tries to act, Laura snaps. She starts ranting about how they can bring Kathy back. Andy screams for Wendy, who rushes to the shed and finds the gruesome scene. But before they can get out, Laura jumps in her van and drives straight into them. She kills Wendy instantly and leaves Andy badly hurt. Then, without mercy, she drowns Andy in a puddle. Laura picks up Piper from the rec center and brings her home. Piper senses something is wrong. She touches Oliver's head and realizes he doesn't have the curly red hair Laura described. Then she finds Andy's body by feeling his braces, confirming what happened. Overwhelmed with grief and fear, Piper tries to run, but she hits her head and passes out. Laura drags Piper outside to the pool while it's raining, recreating the moment Kathy drowned. As she tries to push Piper in, the girl calls her Mum. The word cuts deep, and Laura can't bring herself to do it. She breaks down and releases Piper. Laura then takes Kathy's body out of the freezer, opens the wound on her own arm, and lets herself bleed to death next to her daughter. Meanwhile, Oliver finally steps outside the house, beyond the white ring. Whatever force had taken over him starts to come out of his body, as he vomits and expels it. Piper escapes into the street and is rescued by a kind couple. She hears Andy's final voice message and then the sound of a plane flying overhead. Andy once told her that planes meant their dad was in heaven. Hearing the plane brings her peace, and she smiles. At Laura's house, the police arrive and find Oliver, who finally speaks and says his name, Connor Bird. They continue searching and discover Laura dead in the pool, holding her daughter Kathy in her arms.